This video is brought to you by FlexiSpot.
What was one of your favorite childhood toys that you can remember that really stays with you?
Ricky?
One of you guys.
Bro, one of the probably, they weren't even mine. They were my neighbors. It was my Hasbro, his Hasbro wrestlers. I loved watching WWF and playing with those toys at the same time at his house. It was, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, dude, I loved it. I can't explain it. I love watching Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, and Ultimate Warrior, Bret the Hitman Hart. Something about just playing that with my buddy, just
with the toys.
With the toys. I loved it. Dude, I didn't have many toys. Most of my toys were like, I barely had Ninja Turtles, so I love Ninja Turtles, but I never got the full.
Did you get the bootlegs?
Funny story. I did get one of my favorite toys was a bootleg. Here, I'll start it off. It was Easter, and I remember I was just waking up. My dad had dropped off a basket for me at my house.
Aww.
And it was this ginormous He-Man like this. I guess it was a Mexican He-Man, but
Hey man, those are expensive now.
cool
To me, one man.
Hey, I have the power.
bro, to me it was the coolest thing ever. And dude, it was flimsy. It was everything.
Oh,
it was
great.
like horrible, but I loved it. Like as a kid, I loved it because I found it again like recently at Totu's place. He had it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was, dude, I can't believe I didn't break it right off the bat because the arms almost came off when I picked it up. But
I found one of those at the swap. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just curious. It was this big,
dude, it was huge.
huge.
It was huge. Like I'd be playing with it, and my aunt was like 3-4 years older than me. She had Barbie, so I'm like, oh, look at me, I got like a Ken, but he's like buffed up.
That's amazing.
awesome.
I was at the swap meet a while ago, and I found a bootleg He-Man, and I didn't pick it up. It was a He-Man and Battle Cat. And I got roasted in the comments for not picking it up. Everyone's like, dude, that's worth a lot of money. That's this. And I was like, I didn't know that. FlexiSpot, truly one of my most used items I've ever got, this FlexiSpot desk. I sent one of these even to my brother-in-law because I love him so much. These desks, if you're like me, ever behind a desk, you know that sitting down is great, but you know that standing up is much better for you. Check it out. One of my favorite features is all of this right here. You got a USB-C port, you got other ports, you got regular USB. I know going in right here, it's gonna go right where I want it to go at my desired location. I stinking love these. The simplicity and the way that this goes from standing to sitting back to standing with such ease is mind-blowing. I love it. It makes everything so efficient and easy. So I've been using this for about 6 months now, and I wasn't a standing desk guy before, but ever since having this, I am telling you, when I go to edit, I already feel like I'm in a better place because I'm not going to sit down and be lazy. I'm immediately moving and grooving. I even got weights that I got literally put them ever since I got my standing desk, because now there's days where I'm just watching things render and I just gotta sit there and, do a little. If you want to get your hands on one of these, go to my link in the description below. Thank you so much, FlexiSpot. I have a unique link down there. It means the world, and I can promise you that this is one of those items you will not regret. Thanks, FlexiSpot.
I've had those come into the store before, the He-Man, the bootleg ones, and I remember spending forever trying to figure out what this was. And it turns out they're just bootlegs. There's like no history on any of those things.
Yeah, no, there's not. It's fine because I looked it up during that when I saw him. I was like, let me look this up, and I'm like, I don't know how to Google search this and like find this, and I'm like, is this even He-Man? And then when the comments came, I got roasted completely.
But speaking of He-Man, that is my favorite childhood memory. I am a He-Man guy in and out. I still collect He-Man, love them. I've been trying to actually start just collecting like the in-box He-Man figures, which is kind of a pricey thing.
I was going to say, how are the prices right now in current He-Man market?
I mean, I bought one the other day at WonderCon. It was I think Two Heads one in box. It was $60, but I think it was like a couple $100 online.
Got it. You didn't do yourself any favors right now by saying, yeah, I'm super into He-Man. I got Two Heads one.
I forget the name.
I'm super into
There's
Nintendo,
like a
but I love
million
Green Mario.
Well, see, I mean, even as a kid, I don't remember all of their names.
Yeah,
I remember Leech. Leech was one of my favorite ones. He was the green guy that you could stick.
Yeah.
That's what we used to call Curtis when he started coming around the swap meet.
Facts.
I'm just kidding, bro.
But my favorite memory is like I used to take all my He-Man toys, set up Castle Grayskull, huge battles. G.I. Joe would get involved. Those guys would get wrecked. Yeah. And then I would take them in like the bathtub with me. Like I remember sticking Leech like on the shower thing and just huge epic battles.
Man, I wish I could afford the real ones.
Mine was, I don't know what series, and I probably should have looked it up before because it was definitely my biggest, like, if I had to pick like that moment in my childhood where it was like that perfect toy morning. You know, I've talked about before, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but there was one year where my dad apparently got this big bonus and my dad just wanted to go like all out, right? So one year it was Christmas, you know, the classic, you know, cold outside, wake up, brothers and I are waking up literally in like onesies, you know, shouldn't have been wearing onesies, but that's what we were wearing. And I just remember walking out, and my parents were not fans of, I know some people like leaving presents out, like where you can see them. And we're big believers in, you know, having them wrapped. That's just kind of what we did. Had them wrap one by one, open it. But this year, my dad was like, let's go crazy. Let's get the kids this. And I walked out and it was just, I'm telling you, I think my dad spent $1,000 on Batman toys. Wow. And it was unbelievable. And the one that sticks out the most is, I remember, no, there's two that stuck out the most. Oh, maybe they're the same. They are the same one. It was the Batman in the shiny knight outfit. He was like all silver, metallic, and I got the horse to go with it. I can't remember what that line is called, but that's what most of them were. There was like other types in there as well. I think like Batman Adventures as well, because, you know, there's not that many to equal like $1,000 worth. But I just remember going out there and being like, my goodness. It was one of those things where when you watch My Retro Life, you know, and you see the old videos, I'm like, that's the one in my head that I'll forever. It's so elevated in my head that I almost can't remember I know there was, what other Christmases like getting what toys. Because like I know I own Ninja Turtles, but I literally can't remember like opening them on Christmas. I don't remember. But when I think about that, I'm like, that all of my brain power goes there.
I have no memory of opening any of my He-Man toys.
Really?
I don't remember opening them. Somehow I had them. I don't remember opening G.I. Joe
Is that
figures.
good or is that sad? I don't know.
I remember the playing with them, but I don't remember the opening part.
Yeah, I don't either.
I
Like
have
remember
no recollection of that.
I remember like the consoles. I remember opening my consoles, but not the toys.
Our house, I remember opening, because we're pretty, I don't know why it's like a thing in our house. My wife and I are very adamant about like opening presents one by one. And I think that's how I grew up too.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a fan, no shame to anybody if they do, but like when we go, like we go, oh my other people don't listen to this that I know. Like I'll go to see certain people and they just start shredding the pack, and the kids don't even blink at the gifts. And I'm like devastated. I'm like, man, I'm not calling anybody out, not teaching gratitude like for each, you know.
Appreciating each item. We to open one at a time, say thank you one at a time.
Yes.
Who gave it to you?
Right.
Appreciate
Right
it.
on, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Exactly.
Ricky, you too?
Yeah, I do one at
Oh,
a time.
right on, Curtis.
You guys got presents?
I didn't get anything.
No, of course, I'm very appreciative of like anything I got.
Another good one of my favorites was, I think I've told Ricky the story before, is when I got Mario paint as a kid. And it was another Christmas morning, and we got, you know, it was just a normal Christmas. We got the Super Nintendo, super hyped, super rad. Then we got the Mario paint, and it was the big box. We got the big box Mario paint. Oh my gosh, it's Christmas morning. My brothers were in a drawing. We're both kind of like artistic. And my brother's like, I call first, I call dibs. And the first thing my brother did, he didn't draw, he didn't play with anything. He just quickly found the animation studio. And he's like, dude, you can animate stuff. And I'm like, that's amazing. This is so sick. Technology's advanced so far. And I leave the house. I go play outside with like a bike or something for 20 minutes. I come back in and my mom's like, oh, come look. Adam drew something. He wants to show us all. We're gathering around. Yay, Adam! I'm like, let's see what he drew. He animated me getting run over by a car.
I was like, he drew you.
And my parents took away our Super Nintendo and Mario Paint for 2 weeks.
Wait, it was not just a picture. It was like an animated
There was
thing.
blood.
Like the car.
No, there was,
The car moves.
And I'm just like,
That's
and I'm
talent,
like,
bro.
what is? That's a brother. That's a brother by all means for you.
All right. Well, is there a toy
hilarious.
that you guys are like on the lookout for, like when you go out to the swaps rather than buy online?
Yes.
Ricky's a toy guy. What you got, Ricky?
That giant Galactus that just came out, the Marvel Legends. It's about this big.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
It's like a huge scale
It's
one.
a huge scale. It's like 3 feet tall.
It's a new
Wow.
Galactus.
It's a new Galactus.
Because I have the old one that it was a pretty big
Yeah.
Galactus.
No, this
which is
thing's like-
awesome. That's an awesome figure.
Wow.
Thing giant.
See, when I go to swap meets for toys, or anywhere for toys, I'm always looking for like, not bootlegs, but like the oddball weird lines that like nobody really cares about, like the Cowboys of Moo Mesa, the random like battle trolls, the random like Chuck Norris figures, like stuff where people aren't necessarily like we talked about before, looking for things I don't know I wanted till I see it. And I go, what is this? And it's funky and it's like Mad Balls or something, you know. I always like the weird, odd toys.
I found some battle trolls the other day.
Really?
In box battle trolls.
How much?
Nice.
I think they're like 40, 50 bucks.
No, I was asking how much.
You want to buy them? No, seriously. I thought they would go for a lot more. They were like in box.
That's awesome. I'll give you low money. Bad way to start negotiations. Yeah, man, they don't go for much.
I'm always looking for Kenner superpowers. Do you know those ones? The old Superman, Batman, the early like
I
Kenner
have a
ones.
bag full of them.
Score.
We're
I'll
just-
take 'em. Perfect, $2 a piece. But whenever I'm digging through toys, and I do love hunting for loose figures,
Yeah.
at the swap meet. But that was another toy other than He-Man that I played with a ton. And I love collecting those guys, like finding Superman with like the cape on.
Yeah.
You know which ones I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right? And I very love those ones.
That's
a lot.
awesome.
Yeah.
I like to hear it.
Well, was there like a material of like vintage toys comparison to like toys nowadays? Like, what do you think the biggest difference is with them,
boy.
how they're made?
Oh, but Mikey, my buddy Mikey, if you're listening, plug your ears. Just take vintage toys versus Funko Pops. I'm sorry, but a lot. I'm not necessarily calling out Funko Pops, but I feel like a lot of the stuff nowadays, maybe not all, but and again, this is, old grandpa talking on my lawn. I just play with Tonka trucks and they're real metal, and you could kill somebody with a Tonka Tonka truck, the die cast stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like, and again, it makes sense because it's cheaper, the material and less, but I feel like they've gotten drastically less and less impressive. But then again, there are some very nice lines like the TMNT Turtles in Time ones that look like real.
Those are dope.
I think those look good. But for the most part, from what I've seen, I'm not the biggest like new end toy stuff.
Like not even like the NECA like type stuff, because like
yeah,
those are
but those
pretty
are nice.
Okay.
They're really detailed. I don't
okay.
know about the quality of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the quality has gone down in the majority of them. Like if you look at like a G1 Transformer, I mean, the detail that went into those things are unbelievable. And I have these crazy like Japanese, some kaiju
you.
robot stuff kind of things. Like the amount of dye like molds that went into this thing are unbelievable. But I will say, as far as newer figures, ones that I do love is the Marvel Legends figures. Those things are so well built. I bought those for years. I have like hundreds of them for my son. That was his toy.
Nice.
And like just the articulation between the toes moving, every limb moving, like they are really well made toys.
I've never held one before, but I've never liked the packaging on them. So maybe that's what's kept me away from them.
Packaging does suck.
Okay.
If it was a bubble, I like the bubble.
Okay.
And it's
Oh,
like
I
it's
see, I see what
it's
you
a
mean, yeah.
box with the clear, and opening them is not good either.
Okay.
But the bubble would be much better. So I'm with you on the packaging.
Okay.
But inside there, like I would buy those for my son brand new, and just he would just destroy the packaging right out. He just wanted to get to the figure.
I don't blame him.
And you know what? Even at this age, even he's 13 now, he still once in a while will pick those up.
That's like
about to go
Ricky's
into
kid.
high school. He'll
I still
still
pick 'em up.
pick them up and play with them.
Ricky, your son still gets them, and he's turning 18.
Dude, I'll literally ask him
still play with
for
them?
Christmas. I'm like, hey, what do you have for Christmas? Like, well, this sweet Marvel Legends is coming out. I'm like, all right, I'll get that for you. He'll like want just random figures.
Nice.
Mainly Spider-Man, but
he's a big Spider-Man guy.
He's a big
Well, I
Spider-Man
feel with
guy.
my son, it's like, he's about to go into high school, and the child within him is dying a little bit, so he doesn't play as much. No, but every once in a while, I'll hear him pick him up, and he'd be in his room, and he'll go.
That's so
And I
cool.
love hearing like the little last bit of that child still in there.
I love how in this room we're like, dude, that's so cool. That's so sweet. And other like people like in the world, they're like, dude, that's problematic. Like, that kid needs to grow up, stop playing with toys. Yeah.
All right. Well, I got like one more question under this. Where was the store that you got your toys from that you remember like the most?
Toys R Us. On what streets were that?
That was
In Santa Ana. Toys R Us in Santa Ana, man.
Bristol.
Bristol and McCarr, I don't know, and Santa Ana, California. Growing up there, man, it was quite literally my childhood was that store. We would actually, the one time in my life where my parents left my brother on accident without picking him up was at Toys R Us, that Toys R Us. We would go there and we'd sit there and we'd play all the kiosks, like everybody else. We'd play with the kiosk, play with the toys, ride the bikes, and we would read Nintendo Power for just forever. And that's one of the times my mom came home when I wasn't there. And she's like, hey, where's Adam? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, oh my God, I left him at Toys R Us. but she went back and he's like, huh? I was left? Oh yeah, I'm just page 49, like still going, Toys R Us for me was by far and large my childhood toy store.
Have you seen that they're in Macy's now?
Yeah, but I
Not
don't.
the same.
It's not the same. No.
I noticed that the other day when I was in there. I was like, wow, there's Toys R Us in here.
So Toys R Us started out was created by Charles P. Lazarus. He started out as a furniture store for kids. And what would happen is he'd build these furniture, and then it'd be good quality. You know, back in the day, they made them good, and people would buy furniture, never come back. It lasted. Everything lasted. So he made some toys. He started putting toys in his store, and he realized return customers. Oh, little Johnny bought a ball for $1. He wants another one. Oh, he lost at a ton of the bed. He wants this toy, wants this toy. Before you knew it, he started putting out toys. Then he started making, obviously, Toys R Us. So, you know, important, so prominent that he changed the store to be a toy store. And I don't know, you know, we could say what we want about this, or if it's true or what we want to believe, but did you know when they announced that it was closing down, that they were shutting toys just 3, 4, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And they announced the final store was closed down. He died like 2 days later.
No way.
Yeah.
I
way.
truly believe, because I believe mental, you know, health, mental stability is huge in your life. I think not quite literally physically, but I think it literally kind of killed him. Like took down his mental, you know, it's like people who they lose a child or something, and they lose someone they've married you for 50 years, and then they pass as soon as their partner passes.
Yeah, that was his life's work.
It was his life, man.
But he was no longer the owner, though, correct? He had probably sold.
I don't know, to be honest. I think he still might have had a hand in
He
it.
may be, you know what? He probably still had a part of it. I'm sure he still had a lot of
But it's his
stake in it.
baby.
It was his baby.
I mean, Toys R Us, man, that was, when that shut down, that was, I think, one of the biggest blows to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because my understanding of why they actually shut down was they got bought by somebody and then got bought by somebody else, and there was like too much debt on it. It wasn't that they weren't making money. It was like the process of that it had been sold a couple times. There was like too much debt that they couldn't pay the debt service.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like they overpaid for it, basically.
Did not know that.
But my favorite toy store was KB Toys. Did you guys have KB Toys
we did.
around here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I spent so much time at KB Toys.
Yeah.
Every video game that I bought, every toy. There was a mall nearby where we live. I lived in rural Connecticut, and there was a mall, and that was like the only toy store around. And so we would just live at that place. Loved KB Toys.
It's crazy because I walked into like a toy store or like a toy aisle the other day. It was like at a Best Buy. You know, you can go to any store really. And I was in there with my kid, with my son, and I literally thought to myself, this sucks. Like every game, I'm not joking, the Best Buy by South Coast Plaza, the Best Buy is all photocopies, black and white, of papers that say, go to the front if you want a game, with a picture of it. And there's nothing bright. There's nothing exciting. There's no color. All the kiosks are like turned off, half working. And I'm like, for them, they might not think this sucks, but for us, we grew up with quite literally the Willy Wonka of toy stores, KB and Toys R Us. You can go on YouTube channels, and there's people that upload them. I watch these channels, and it's just people in like the 80s and 90s with camcorders. They don't say anything, they're just filming. Toys R Us in 91, Toys R Us during Christmas, and it's like a literal Willy Wonka toy factory. And it's just like brilliant and beautiful. And when I saw my kid walking around, I'm like, dude, that sucks, man. Like his browsing experience is just so meh compared to what we had. So
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I mean, when you're in Target and any of those places, it does not hit the same
There's
at
no
all.
hit.
I think up until the end, Toys R Us had still done a really good job with it.
Yeah.
They had. I mean, and not to toot my own horn, but with my
I
stores,
was literally going to say that.
like when you do come in there, I mean, I spend so much time between like the kiosks and all the little things that are in there that are a lot more visual.
I think you and Retro Rick both are very smart about visual appearance in a store.
Yeah,
and you're basically, what you're doing is you're recreating an experience that people don't have. And when someone like new comes into the store, it's just like, wow, this is like a toy store, actual one that I can actually enjoy things. You know what I mean?
I know, giving it a home.
How are we such nerds? When I think about this, I'm like, wow, we're nerds. But I love it. I mean,
Well, it ties into those childhood memories.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think for us, probably why we still are the way we are today is because those memories of the toys.
They're so vibrant.
And KB Toys, they're so vibrant. They had such a big impact on
It's crazy
us.
to think our kids will never say that about looking for video games. They'll be like, yeah, one time I downloaded Fortnite.
I wonder with them. I wonder what it will be like for them. I don't know.
I feel like they're ripped off. I mean, they have Amazon now and all that, so that's all online.
Yeah.